Guns in Space Station 14 have received some new mechanics, and those mechanics are bolts. In order to fire a gun in Space Station 14 now, the gun must be bolted. What does that mean? Well, for example, here is an MK58. The bottom MK58 is unbolted. The top one is a gun that is bolted. It is racked. It is ready to fire. There is a bullet in the chamber. To put it simply, in order to fire a gun in Space Station 14, if you right-click it and it says open bolt, that means the gun is already ready to fire. It is not unsafety, you can almost call it something like that, just to add 1,000 different terms. So if you see a gun like this, to shoot a gun, all you simply do is you left click it to pick it up, or you just already have it in your hand. You turn on harm mode, and for a semi-automatic gun that is magazine fed, you just left click to fire. And you just keep shooting. So you hear that sound, which will be the gun emptying. It'll say, if you keep trying to shoot, it'll say gun not bolted. If you press Alt-Z, you'll pull the magazine out. And if you get a fresh magazine, you can put it in your hand and simply click on the gun. And that'll put the new magazine in. But if you try to shoot, the gun is not bolted. Well, how do you bolt the gun? You can painstakingly turn off harm mode, right-click the gun, and close the bolt. But the more efficient manner is to simply, you can have harm on, just press E with your mouse hovering over the pistol or whatever gun, and it will close the bolt. These hotkeys are, I believe, either being changed or going to be changed, so keep that in mind. But as of right now, just hover over the gun and press E, and you'll be ready to fire again, just like so. There's also racking the gun, which you can do if you press Z with it in your hand. And it has a really awesome audio, I'm not going to lie. That is a scary piece of... That is some scary audio. You can use that for some roleplay. You can use that if you need to get the bullets out of a magazine. Whatever scenario you could think of. And it won't play any different audio even if there's no bullets. But then remember, you can unrack the gun and put it down, pull the mag out. And essentially, you can almost roleplay having good gun safety that way. Not all guns work this way, however. Guns like the Kamer shotgun are pump-action shotguns. They work in a different system. They do not have a bolt to be... they don't have a bolt that can be open or closed. They are pumped. So in order to shoot a gun like a Kamer, you just pick it up and shoot it. And interestingly, as I just learned, I'm not going to even unedit it. This used to be a pump-action shotgun. I guess it's not pump action anymore? I didn't know that. So if you actually don't even want to use it like a pump action, it wastes ammo. Okay. The Kamer is no longer a pump action shotgun. I did not know this. It also means that the technical difference between a bulldog and an enforcer now is the enforcer just isn't fully automatic, where the bulldog is fully automatic, but I suppose pump action weapons like shotguns no longer are pump action, so that is not something I have to teach you. That also means guns like the Mosin, which used to need bolted, no longer need bolted. So in a way, certain guns have actually gotten easier to use. So guns like this, you just shoot until you have no ammo. So that is a interesting observation that I didn't even know. So certain guns are actually a lot easier. So like if you use all the ammo in an enforcer, you don't have to worry about pumping it. You could just put a new shot in and just shoot it as is. So these guns have actually gotten easier to use. That means guns like the double barrel don't need pumped either. So yeah, you could basically insta-kill somebody with that because there's no downtime for actually pumping the gun. Very interesting. The L6 Saw is a gun with unique mechanics. The L6 Saw can be fired in one hand like every other gun, but it is extremely inaccurate. However, if you press Z with the L6 Saw, it will actually wield it in both hands and give you somewhat better accuracy, but that diminishes quickly. In order to reload the L6 Saw, well, you can drop it on the ground if you want and press Alt-C and then put another bullet, or put the other mag in. Another thing you can do is just have a mag in your hand and swap it out like so. And another quick thing you can do is, rather than pressing Alt-Z, you could always just have a mag in your backpack and simply just pull the mag out, swap it, and put the empty mag in your back or the half-empty mag or toss it. Using quick binds through your backpack is always going to be the fastest way of reloading rather than having to go to your gun on purposely, press Alt-Z, then drop it out of your free hand, and then put it back in. I suppose if your hand's empty, though, when you press Alt-Z, it'll actually just drop the mag on the ground. So you could try to be nifty with that. But either way, the L6 Saw is a gun that requires wielding in order to be properly used. And just while I'm here, the Proto-Kinetic Accelerator is another gun that is very inaccurate one-handed, but with two hands, it becomes a perfectly accurate monster of a weapon. Realistically, that is all the gun mechanics explained. The actual act of shooting guns has gotten easier because apparently pump action guns just don't exist anymore, or bolt action. They automatically cycle bullets without you having to do an input. But mechanically, having to deal with bolts on guns can definitely trip people up. Like, I've seen people pull out the C20, and the C20 isn't as obvious that it isn't bolted. It's literally like 5 or 6 pixels total. That shows you that it's unbolted. And another way you can tell it's unbolted is if you see the bullet symbol right there where it's black, that means there is not a bullet in the chamber, meaning that you need to manually put a bullet in the chamber. And the C20, like all the other guns, can just quick swap out mags regardless of the bolt being open or closed. Do not be caught with your bolt open because it is definitely more useful to have a bullet in your chamber versus not a bullet in the chamber when the time comes. I hope this helped.